Lycoris Recoil episode 6 continue the plot about everything else that continue from the episode 1 about the weapons, about the DA, where the haggis is walnut, and complements this episode where there's so many plot points showing how the villain operates in his mind and how DA close the news and every basic stuff. To say this episode make me really, I don't know, like my mood when I watch this anime like 20 minutes before, my mood is on really on edge. But when I watch this anime, I feel kind of better and feel happy, and that's the effect of this anime. Like there's so many scenes that remind me of the game, like Near Automata, or like the mood and the feel of this anime is smart and feel like the plot, the quirky, the weirdness, the plot point of this anime made me like remind of the past, and feel kind of in the mood of happy. That's kind of what I have experienced in. I have no problem with the action scene. Mashima using the gun but not shooting Chisato, or many cliche moments in the anime, because this anime shown interesting strategy about the cooperations of the walnut. There's a lot of interesting tactics like spilling the blood from the Mashima mouth, which in Lycoris Recoil, the only blind spot that I see is kind of Hollywood itch scenes of the fighting actions stuff, but other than that, shown very many of the interesting plot point in the show, how hacker robots are finding out about Shisato or hacking about DA, and kind of up and down, a lot of conflict, a lot of factions in the shows. Not like the other episode where having a mock fight between Takina to only for the sake of actions, but this episode has a lot of the interesting ups and down and interesting action tactics. What I mean by interesting is the fact that like Horishika not only just making the conflict and then resolve it in very boring way, like making Mashima going through with Shisato and just resolving it with only boring result, which like the other episode where we don't understand anything, but in this episode we understand a lot of the personality of the character, and why DA is now gone, and the continuous story with the resolving plot of who is who, and the resolving conflict about the fight with the Mashima, and these fights are ended in conclude in a way that is not so forced like the other episode, that is ambiguous but also not very in the cliche way, and so resolve in kind of the middle ground that can continue the story forward while still not answered anything. Another compliment is that this anime trying to slip the moments of the slice of life in the midst of the serious tone plot, and doesn't destroy all of the tone of the plot. Like, well, there's some, like, this anime has some tone problem. Well, there's some like Chisato, why not, well, the Lycoris in the cafe, and Chisato when they go to the cafe. These people act like there's nothing serious about getting tracked on at all. They're just living their life and just didn't care about Chisato when until the fights come, and Chisato does not changing the home addresses or just live in the cafe where there's everyone at, and basically everyone act like it is a normal circumstances, which is um kind of drawn the serious tone out, because it's like this anime it's like Metal Gear Solid. It's like not Metal Gear Solid, it's like the Neo Automata, where it the tone of it is kind of clean cut, the plot is kind of clean cut, and when there's some like this kind of plot hole where the character is just like not serious about going about being recorded or getting tracked down, or if you kind of destroy some tones. So the score is great, as I think that this episode is perfect, is kind of perfect, is kind of content, and not so ambiguous as the other episode does. While still having the well, still having the clear answer and continuous plot from the other episode, which I think that it is not that outstanding, because well, there's a lot of cliche moment. Like, I'm not blaming the cliche moments from the fact that lack of the character. There's not many of the thing that to kept me so that interested about. It's not like Death Note or episode 2 of the Lycoris, where there's still a lot of thing to keep track of. Well, this episode is um, everything seems to not so having the well. There's some tone problem that's probably really the problem. But what about the radio tower? About the bosses of and Shisato Pass, or all the factions of police? Maybe police will help Lycoris track down the Mashima, or and there's still only two factions, only two one plot line going on about the Mashima. And I'm not saying it should be like Naruto, where cutting the fight scene and the 5 training moments. I say that needs to be some of the tone, like there should be some of the other things going on outside, like some stuff to keep track of, and or all the plot interesting things idea going on as well. So it's that's probably my big problem about this kind of anime, is that the other episode lay out a lot of mystery interesting idea and not using it. And so that's it.